Hello everyone, I am your host Joy and you're listening to Romance or No-mance, where love blooms in unexpected places. This is an advice podcast about relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic, familial, or professional. This program is meant for inspiration and entertainment, and is not to be used as a replacement for therapy. If you are having a mental health emergency, please dial 911 or contact a healthcare professional. This program is PG-13, so please view at your own discretion. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Romance or No-mance. Hello everyone, and today I am with my classmates,
Tabbitha,
Jessica,
and Jacob.
Today we're working on our romance aspect of this podcast, so let's get started. First question is, what is your relationship status?
I can go first. It is very much complicated. It depends on the day, how I'm feeling, whether I've gotten attention that day. It just kind of go with the vibe.
I am divorced and single, not dating.
I have been in a relationship for about 4 years now.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I am single, not dating anyone currently. The next question is, what is the key to a healthy relationship?
I'm going to say truth and honesty and communication. Honesty is like the number one factor in a relationship to make it last. Because it affects everything. It affects how you love them, how you speak to them, how you make them feel.
I would definitely say communication. I think the pitfalls of many relationships nowadays is that people just bottle everything in. They tell their friends rather than their partner, and they end up in the same vicious cycle over and over and over again with the same arguments.
Right, because communication is something that's important for any relationship, because if you don't tell people, hey, do this, or hey, don't do this, then they're never going to know and your relationship will never improve.
And to take it one step further, also communication style, because if you are partnered with somebody who loves to text all day, but you hate texting, there's a gap there. And if they like to talk on the phone and you hate it, y'all are not compatible that way. You want to communicate in a way that works for both of y'all and where one person's not feeling stressed out by the communication style.
So as the only taken person in this table right now, one of the biggest things is communication for obvious reasons, because if you do not communicate properly, then arguments will happen, issues will arise from that. And this is also coming from someone who recently had their first fight, and it was mostly about money.
Definitely something to be resolved sooner than later.
Yes. I won't get into details, but she needs to be more controlling with her spending, and I've talked to her about that recently. She's like, I will be better in the future, and she promises that, which is good because she's very understanding.
In that case, what are some red flags that you try to avoid?
I'm going to say, going back again to the honesty and truth, I think lying, even little white lies, can be a red flag, because if it's easy for someone to lie about small things, it's super easy for them to lie about big things too. And unfortunately, I know this from experience.
One of my big red flags is someone who is over-controlling, like where they will not respect one's boundaries.
Correction is important. Set your boundaries first, let people know where they need to stand, and then just go from there.
I feel like the biggest red flag in a relationship is when your lifestyles are incompatible. You have people who are night owls being with somebody who's a day person. Basically, their entire lives are polar opposite, and the only thing that they have in common is the bed that they share.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I myself am a night owl. That's partially why I am currently not on the dating scene, because nobody else has my schedule. I can easily be up till 4 a.m, and other people
Wake up at 4 a.m. to go to work.
Exactly. So what are things that you're willing to compromise?
I think that in this stage of my life, I'm not willing to compromise on important things. I think little habits, watching a certain show that I don't like, not a big deal. That's something I can compromise on. But the bigger issues, morals, values, non-negotiables.
I would definitely say, similar to you, like where I'm at in my stage in life, I know exactly where I want to be in the next 4 years, and the person that I'm currently dealing with, I told them that from the very beginning. I've known them for 7 years, and I was like, it's either now or get out of my life is pretty much what the conversation was. And they were like, okay. So here we are 6 months later. It's very complicated.
Hey, trust me, I can relate for sure.
The last question is, what advice do you have for people who are new to dating?
Ooh, I will definitely answer this one. So my ex-husband was my first serious boyfriend. When we met, I was 14, 15 when we started dating, and we were together for 20 years. So I would say, do not think that you have to make it work with the first or second person that you date, even if you love them and think that you align on certain things. Make sure that you're talking to your family and friends about your relationship and that you don't feel like you have to stay with somebody just because you feel like you love them.
Right, definitely. I've heard once before that the person that you date says a lot about you. Deep down, the question is, are they a good person? Not just for you, but like, are they a good person in general?
For me, it's find common ground first and then basically build off of that. Because I have had a lot of friends who ended up in relationships with people they already knew. They started out as like best friends and then they grew to have romantic interests in each other. And that's kind of what happened with my girlfriend currently, because it is more so a understanding relationship. It's specifically about letting them into your life, letting them know what's going on with you, letting them get to know you better. And if you wish to expand in terms of getting into a relationship, let them help you figure that decision out.
I would definitely say something that when I am meeting someone new and we're getting to know each other, living by the 90-day rule, which if anybody knows, it's where you don't get into any physical contact with somebody until after 90 days. Almost everyone's first reaction is like, oh, I want to do all of these things with this person. But in reality, 90% of the time, those are bad life choices. I avoid those at all costs. If you still want to do those after 90 days of knowing that person and that person is still in your life after those 90 days, then it's probably a better choice than after a week.
So I'm seeing that advice is mostly trusting your family and friends and make sure that they know what's going on so that they can help you and support you throughout your dating life. And then go slowly, don't rush into things. And then the other one is just figure out who you are yourself before you try to start a life with someone else. All right, thank you guys so much. This has been very insightful. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you listeners so much for your valuable time. This has been Joy on Romance or No-mance. Take care.